So without wasting much time, we call on our keynote speaker. He's currently the head of research and research fellow of the Institute of Chartered Economists. He's also the chairman of the Council of Trade and Investments of the International Chamber of Commerce. I can go on and on and on, but this man is passionate about the youth of this country and is passionate about the development of this country, Ghana. Join me, let's welcome our next speaker who will deliver the keynote address, Dr. Sam Ankrah. Come on, let's show some love. Oh, come on, do it better for him. Okay, KNUST, let's do it better for our next speaker.
Chairman of the occasion, the deans of the various schools, fellow speakers, my colleagues from the Architecture alumni, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to have been asked to give the keynote address for this summit and to share my thoughts on developing an entrepreneurial youth. Indeed, the youth, their progression and development are things very dear. I have not come to address you. Neither have I come to give a lecture or give you instructions. I have really come to discuss a problem with you, for us to deliberate and find solutions to a problem which can be solved only when ultimately the student, the lecturer, and the government who makes the policies to understand it. I'm hoping that after I'm done speaking, there will not be just lots of inspiration, but lots of applications. That you will not just be glad or excited you came, but more importantly, what you do with what I say. After the event is over and the curtain is drawn, what would you do with what you hear here from here? I'm also here to encourage you, but also to help you. This speech is not about me or how well I speak. It's about you and what you make with the information. The success of this gathering is not a standing ovation. It's about walking out here with a game plan as a young student. My talk is not to make me look good. However, it should help you get good. It wasn't too long ago when I was in the same as many of you here today. I guess I'm still young though. I'm young at heart. I was overwhelmed by possibility and yet unsure of how to proceed on to make the next step. I felt the pressures internally from personal dreams and aspirations and externally from the expectation. I remembered all the sacrifices made by my family to get me to this point and hope they've reposed in me to make me a better life for myself. I didn't want to disappoint myself or those who are relying heavily on me to succeed. I'm sure many of you can relate to this, and that probably feel that you are at a very important crossroads. Fellow students, ladies and gentlemen, this summit theme is developing an entrepreneurial youth. So you may ask, what is an entrepreneurial youth? Since we're in academic setting, and I don't want to disappoint any of the many scholars present, kindly permit me to break down the term and define each word. The Oxford Dictionary defines an entrepreneur as a person who makes money by starting or running businesses. Especially, this involves taking financial risk. The Investopedia also defines entrepreneur as an individual who creates a new business, bearing most of the risk and enjoying most of the rewards. From these two definitions, it's evident that in the DNA of an entrepreneur to take risk for rewards. Let's move to defining youth, a category that most of you fall into. According to the United Nations, there is no universally agreed international definition of the youth age group. For statistical purposes, however, the United Nations, without prejudice to any of its other definitions made by member states, defines youth as persons between the age of 15 and 24 years. The Africa Youth Charter of the African Union defines youth as persons between the age of 15 and 35 years. According to this definition, Africa can be described as a youthful continent. Again, according to statistics from the Mo Ibrahim Foundation, in 2020, Africa's population under 35 represents almost 1 billion people. That is 440.8 million from the age of 1 month to 14 years old, and 454.5 million from the ages of 15 to 34 years old, amounting to 22.7% of the world youth population. Ghana is no exception to this continental trend. We're generally a young population with approximately a whopping 57% of all Ghanaians being under the age of 25 from the 2020 census. When I see such statistics, it excites me because it means that as a country and continent, we have a vast amount of potential and human capital to harness. However, isn't it ironic when a university like ours, this one, built over generations and decades, purposely to produce scientists, innovators, creative individuals, and yet the most basic of basics, that is our agriculture, which has been the mainstream of our economy over the years, has not seen any enhancement, progress, or technological advancement from this institution. Our curriculum and academic exercise have been merely theory with less practical thinking or room for creativity. China just started growing cocoa and have built an advanced technology ecosystem around it to increase in productivity, time, and profitability. The introduction of greenhouses, drying plants, and high technology equipment from planting to harvesting has made them a game changer overnight in a business where African countries, mainly Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, has played duopoly for several decades. And yet, KNUST, which has existed for several decades, have not been able to support the industry with entrepreneurial creativity, or because our structure of education has not given us yet room to be creative, innovative with ideas or dreams. There is a time in education which progresses from building labor force for the country into efficiency-driven phase with the beginnings of high standard curriculum and assessment, etc. Then we need to move to thinking schools, where we prepare entrepreneurs, workforce, and experts suited for the globalized market. This is the dimension I'm looking for you young people. This is the dimension I require managers of this institution to lead this great school to. We are in an era where you are either innovate or you die in every facet of our human living. Entrepreneurs are more than ever needed in our societies. Now back to the theme of today's summit. From the above definitions, I want to distill the essence of entrepreneurship and what it means to develop an entrepreneurial youth. Kindly permit me to expand this discussion of entrepreneurial beyond its strict business limits. There is a general notion and thought that entrepreneurship can be an afterthought when graduates who cannot find employment or school dropouts can be pushed into it. That's a fallacy. Real entrepreneurs or entrepreneurship is inculcated into youth at the early stage of their education, where young people must be trained and understand setting up their own is not a failure, but a call to great leadership. Entrepreneurs are leaders first. They are creative, they are innovative, they are results-oriented and daring individuals who are ready to take risk for rewards. The attitude and desire to build own business is synonymous, if I can say, to the calling by preachers to do the work of God. It's not a substitute to individuals struggling to work or school dropouts, but it's a route to greatness. And I'll tell you why. I am aware that in the strictest sense, the word entrepreneur does not apply to everyone. And I'm not of the school that notion that everyone should be an entrepreneur. People's career paths naturally differ. And I do not think everyone should be boxed into this entrepreneurship, or indeed entrepreneurship should be hailed as a superior career choice. No. However, what I do believe that by examining the mindset of the entrepreneur and gathering the nuggets from this perspective can aid the youth, whatever career path they choose to take. What do I mean when I say entrepreneurial mindset? To me, it's what Henry Ford said. The founder of Ford Company sums it up in the best way when he said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. It starts with your own mindset. The entrepreneurial mind should first believe that it's possible, it can be done. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Depending on which level you are at the moment. Are you thinking of getting yourself into one of these top corporations in town? Or you are looking to get or set up a top corporation? The greatest philosopher who ever lived on this earth, the carpenter's son, said, and I quote, "As a man thinketh, so shall he be." You become what you think about. If you're looking to be an employee, you will be an employee. If you're looking to be an employer, you will be an employer. It all starts from the thinking. Nothing has been achieved or done without first coming through a thought process of a dreamer who dared to step out of the comfort zone and not wanting to be part of the statistics or the status quo, but dared to be different and take a leadership or entrepreneurial responsibility. It's ultimately a positive mindset that has a vision of what can be done or needs to be done. That doesn't mean to say that there are days when you don't feel low or down. It just means that you can create mechanisms that lift you up from such moments and keep you on a positive track. I quite remember years ago in the streets of London when I was struggling for work and eventually landed one, a very top corporation, one of the best in the country, American International Group. Got into the company 6 months, was doing well, progressing very well. Everyone liked me, got promoted several times within that short period, which was quite amazing in the history of the company. Then 8 months after, one of my directors called me and said, "Sam, I think it's time for us to move on." 8 months. I'm looking to set up my own, and I'm looking to pick some bright boys. If you look at how much money you are earning, it's comfortable living. But money and what the company takes. If you join me, all this will come to you. And those were quite very huge figures. But then I had responsibilities. I had bills to pay. I had family to look after. I had a lot of things, so I had to think about it. He says, well, you can and be comfortable, or you can me, and the sky will be the limit. So I spent some time to think about it. And in the end, the spirit within me yearned towards leaving a big corporation with a very good income to set up from scratch with no income, but with expectation that if what is in me was good enough to produce results, I will depend on that for the rest of my life. And that has been the decision I took, and this is what has brought me here today. So I'm speaking to you today and encouraging you that the work or the spirit of entrepreneurship does not just come overnight. It requires a strong will, a desire to win, a desire to step out of the comfort zone and do things which others don't do. Being creative, being innovative, thinking around areas where nobody else does. That's what will get you stand out from others. So how can we develop that entrepreneurship mindset in young people like yourself? My list, by no means, is an exhaustive one. But summary of my experiences for this journey and the lessons I have learned. One important is to take risk. Like I said, most, if not all, definitions of entrepreneurship involve the element of risk-taking. Indeed, it's essential to the whole concept. Taking risk can seem countercultural in a rather conservative society such as ours. But to develop the entrepreneurial mindset, we must learn to take calculated risk. To do this, we must overcome fears. It's been said that fear stands for false evidence appearing real. I have found this to be accurate description. Fear often inhibits us from achieving our full potential and our goals. Fearlessness is a must. It's a must-have trait to develop an entrepreneurial mindset and more of it developed, the stronger it becomes. Ariana Houghton, the Post Media Group editor, said, and I quote, "Fearlessness is like a muscle. I know from my own life that the more I exercise and the more natural it becomes to not let my fears run me." Following in from this, another lesson I learned for not being afraid to fail. That doesn't mean that if you flunk all your exams, you tell your parents, "Dr. Sam Ankrah said I shouldn't be afraid to fail." What it means is that there will be times when we fall short and do not meet our expectations. In short, there will be times we will fail, and we must accept that. The most important thing is how we react to this failure and what we learn from the failure. The story I gave you earlier on sounded very nice, but there were a lot of failures in the processes. Times we lost so much money. Times we lost credibility. Times people looked down on us. But those were part of the process. When they asked Thomas Edison, a reporter asked him, "How did you feel to fail 1,000 times?" He replied, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." Great success is built on failure, frustration, and even catastrophe. Albert Einstein also did not speak until he was 4 years old and did not read until he was 7. All these people, despite the failures, move on to become great people. So nothing should stop you as a young student sitting here today listening to me. The words of Seth Godin, founder of Squido, he says, and I quote, "The only thing worse than starting something and failing is starting something. The only thing worse than starting and failing something is not starting something." Having an entrepreneurial mindset involves a lot of patience. In this technological era, when we're so used to getting things instantly, patience can seem like a little outmoded word. However, developing an entrepreneurial mindset means being patient, or at least 2 levels, with yourself and with the processes you're going to go through. Whatever career path you choose is a journey which requires time, patience to develop. Dangote once said, our own African giant, "You could easily tell that hard work and perseverance go hand in hand with patience." We often hear people say, patience is worth it, yet we don't practice it. I did, and look how well it worked out for me. Young men, learn to be patient in the process. Let's learn from our masters and work with patience and perseverance. Many of you are going to start your own careers, and at this juncture, you shouldn't be afraid to start small. As the saying goes, don't despise the humble beginnings. My journey is a testament to this. We start from something very small. If you appreciate the smaller things, you get the bigger things. So learn to do whatever you do properly. Somebody started from driving a millionaire. He ended up being a millionaire. Don't despise the humble beginnings. Don't despise the humble opportunities that comes your way. They are all part of the process to develop into bigger things. As you can see, I wasn't born a big man, but hard work on my knowledge, skills, and develop my ideas so that I can be the man I present before you today. I wouldn't have gotten here or where I am without the help of close circle of trusted friends also. The right friendship groups can make or break your career. I have heard of friends pulling together to develop ideas and businesses, which can be very worthwhile ventures. We have clear examples of this in Ghana entrepreneurial landscape. The friendship between Osei Kwame Despite, president of Despite Group Companies, and Ernesto Fori, also CEO of Special Investment Group, is one worth emulating when looking at mutual beneficial friendships. The co-founder of LinkedIn, Ryan Hoffman, said, and I quote, "The fastest way to change yourself is to hang out with people who are already the way you want to be." That's deep. The fastest way to change yourself is to hang out with people who are already the way you want to be. Friendship are those who are described as being in your inner or closer circle, but that doesn't prohibit you from extending your wider network and making the most of the social connections. Social media makes developing networks much easier and more accessible. Therefore, be careful with how you engage with social media and how you present yourself. Many potential employers and opportunity makers and clients may form an opinion, whether positive or negative, about how you base your social media interactions. My advice is, make sure you put your best foot forward at all social media engagements. Network doesn't only happen virtually. It's important to also network physically. You are blessed to be part of a university environment where everywhere you turn into, there's a potential network. Colleagues, lecturers, administrators, service providers, guest speakers like myself, and the MD of Prudential, and many others that comes to speak to you. Make the most of your campus experience and network. Your future self will be thankful you did. The final thing I'd like to share with you with regards to developing the entrepreneurial mindset in young people is something I think is particularly important for most of you at the stage of your career and development. Please do not look at your degree as a piece of paper. It is an embodiment of the development of sets of knowledge, most importantly, transferable skills that can stand you in good stead to the future. I'm talking about presentation skills, communication skills, negotiation, marketing, and leadership skills. Make the most out of these skills. Refine and polish them. Your ability to master such skills will enable you to stand out from the crowd and achieve your set goals and be a true entrepreneur or leader. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Most people don't believe me when I say that, but it's true. The more you try to do so in life, the more you find that leadership makes the difference. Any endeavor you can undertake that involves other people will live or die depending on leadership. As you work to build your businesses, remember this: personnel determines the potential of the business. Relationships determines the morale of the organization. Structure determines the size of the organization. Vision determines the direction of the organization. Leadership determines the success of the organization. I wish you success. Pursue your dreams. Desire excellence. Become a person you were created to be, and accomplish all that you were put on earth to do. Leadership will help you to do that. Learn to lead, not just for yourself, but for the people who will follow behind you. And as you reach the highest levels, don't forget to take others with you to the leaders of tomorrow. As I draw my address to a close, I want to wish you all the best in whatever career path you decide to embark on, and that I hope the few insights I've shared with you today will prove useful in encouraging you along the way. Thank you.
Oh, come on, let's give a round of applause to Dr. Sam Ankrah. Wow. Oh, come on, let's do it better for.
Give it up, give it up, give it up. That was a wonderful delivery. Wow. Learn to lead not only for yourself, but for those who follow you, so that when you get up there, you can also hold their hands for them to become the leaders of tomorrow. Give it up once more. Having him here, we are so much enthused. That was a wonderful and mind-permeating delivery. We are so much grateful, sir, for coming.
Unemployment is on the rise in this country, and holding this National Youth Mentorship Program today, is it going to be limited to only KNUST, or is going all over?
From what I gathered from the organizers of the program, they're certainly going to go throughout the whole country to create this awareness of entrepreneurship and also to give insights on how this can be done. And as you could hear from most of the speakers today that were here, these are practical guys. It's good to have the likes of NACOP, but when people are getting real career experience, it's useful. How many architectural firms you have there? How many accountant firms, law firms, and all these places? So our policy from what we're gathering here is the government should make use of these already established institutions, have a sort of deal with them, whether pay the salaries of the young graduates that join them in the various firms, and after 5 or so years, they exit, they create their own empire, other people can join. That is so doing, you are expanding the professional network, and you are creating jobs, real jobs, opportunities for people. So that is the concept, that is what we're selling, and that's what this whole program is for.
As in your speech, you know, a lot of people think starting a business is a very difficult task. What advice do you have for the youth out there?
Nothing is easy, as you know. Everything requires hard work, determination. And like I was saying, you need to develop the spirit of moving, the can-do spirit. Because there's going to be obstacles. There'll be times that you will fail. There'll be times that will be so difficult, but that kind of spirit you inculcate in you is what's going to take you to the next stage. So yes, I admit it's not going to be easy. However, we have an inbuilt capacity to be able to handle those and progress to achieve what we're looking to achieve.
Ghanaian youth are hard-working youths, but how to take a step towards creating their own businesses is also another challenge in the country, especially funds. Any idea to share?
That's why these forums are being created, these platforms, so that we can look into the fundamental problems or challenges facing us to be creative and innovative in our ways. Once we're able to diagnose the problems, honestly, we can always find solutions, like most of the solutions being thrown out there today. So let's collectively come together, understand there's a problem, and find right solutions to these problems.